The 2020 NFL schedule is out. Lucky to be joined now by head coach Vic Fangio. Coach, last year when we talked to you about the schedule, you said you never look too far ahead. It's only the first couple of games. This year, what catches your eye? Looks like we've got 2 out of the first 3 at home.
Yeah, we've got the Monday night opener and then go on the road and then come back home for Tampa. You know, when you look at a schedule, it's really not who you play and when you play. It's a matter of the teams, what kind of status are they in. You know, for instance, last year, Detroit was off to a pretty good start, and then they lost their quarterback, Stafford, and we played the Detroit late in the year with their third-string quarterback in there. So those are the things that end up making a schedule advantageous or not. You know, what's your injury situation? What's the team you're playing injury situation? More so than looking at it here in May and trying to, draw some conclusions. The only thing I did notice is we have a couple short weeks where we're going from Mountain Time Zone to East Coast Time Zone, one of them being a Thursday, and usually the NFL tries to avoid those. We got 2 of those in particular, especially the Thursday one, but hey, that's the way it comes out, you know. Everybody gets on the short end of the stick some way.
At the Combine, you mentioned joint practice with the Bears as being a possibility. Is that still the plan? It looks like preseason schedule, the Bears will be in week 2 at home. You've got San Francisco and Chicago at home, and then at LA, at Arizona. Is joint practice still in the works for your team this year, preseason?
Yes, both of us would like to do it. The Bears would like to do it. We would like to do it. We requested that to be the second preseason game with that in mind, and hopefully we'll be able to do it. But in these times, who knows? And we might be able to squeeze one more in there too.
The division games, obviously, they hold a ton of weight. Week 7 against Kansas City, first divisional game. You finished 2 of 3 at home with divisional opponents this season. When you look at the division, KC, LA, and Las Vegas, gotta get used to saying Las Vegas, having looked at the division and what each team has done this offseason, you know, what do you see when you look at the AFC West schedule within the 2020 schedule?
Well, obviously, you start with the Chiefs, and they've been the top team in the division for several years now. And, they're going to be a tough opponent, both home and away there. We play them once in the middle and once kind of towards the end. I think the Chargers this year, you know, they were a team that was 12-4 and 18, and then last year had a tough season with a lot of close losses. You know, I think they're more closer to being a 12-4 team than the team they were last year. I think they'll be vastly improved. And I think the Raiders are definitely improving. You know, they improved last year from 2018 to 2019. This will be the 3rd year of John being there, and they're bearing the fruits of the trades they made early on to try and stockpile draft picks. So they're going to be a much better team also. So I think our division, you know, is one of the tougher divisions in the league.
The bye week falls in week 8, so the schedule pretty evenly balanced. Do you feel like, you know, the bye week middle of the schedule has some benefits, or does it not matter where it falls in your opinion?
Well, I think, you know, if you had your druthers, you'd like it to be somewhere in the middle. But I've never had a bye week I didn't like, and the players feel the same way. But I think if you were to have your choice, you would like it somewhere in the middle or into the third quarter of the season. So, you know, pleased with where the bye is. But, you know, again, those are things we don't control, and we'll take it as it comes. But sometimes, again, that's kind of like looking at the opponents. You know, sometimes you might be banged up and wish you had a bye earlier. But on paper, we're pleased with where the bye is.
We've heard so much this offseason about continuity with the upcoming season, you know, being prepared, having, you know, a team that's pretty familiar with itself going into this season. It looks like on this schedule, Matt Rule is the only first-year head coach on the schedule. How do you feel like continuity will impact your preparation going towards the season and in getting your team prepared?
Well, obviously, in our situation, we will have some continuity on the defensive side of the ball, although we will be incorporating some new players there that hopefully will help us improve. Offensively, we are undertaking a new offensive system. There will be some carryover to it. So offensively, the continuity isn't quite there as it will be on the defensive side. And, the other teams in our division, obviously Kansas City is returning most of their team, all their coaching staff, so they have a good bit of continuity, whereas the Raiders and Chargers are returning their coaching staffs, but they do have some new players too that they're going to be incorporating. So obviously the Chiefs are in the best shape as it relates to that, but the other three of us are catching up there.
This season's schedule, takes the Broncos to the NFC South, a division or a couple teams that you're very familiar with, namely Carolina. You're the first defensive coordinator in Carolina's history. It was your first DC job in the league. When you think about, going to Carolina, does that game hold any meaning to you personally, and what kind of impact did Carolina have on your coaching career?
Well, it was the first place that I was a defensive coordinator in, but that was a long time ago. That was 1995. And so that's almost 25 years ago. We were an expansion team, so which had its own trials and tribulations to it. So when we got together that spring to finally meet our team and get to work, nobody knew anybody. Talk about continuity. There was zero continuity. But we ended up having a decent season. That first year, we were 7-9. And played really good defense that year. And then the next year we went 12-4 and won our division, made it to the NFC Championship game where we lost to Green Bay in Green Bay. And it brings back good memories. It's the first place I was a coordinator in the league, and I enjoyed my time there. And hopefully we can get another win there.
The road slate, we mentioned it, some of the division games, but you also have New England and Pittsburgh. This year's team is going to be a little bit younger on offense. What are some of the keys to avoiding some of the pitfalls that young teams face when they go on the road?
We just have to have the right kind of young players, and I think we do. There's going to be times in every game, but especially on the road, where you're going to have adversity. Particularly on the road, you got the noise to deal with, and I'm hoping that we'll have full stadiums everywhere we play, including ours. But we've gotten good work with that. Drew played, I believe, 3 road games last year, 2 or 3 in the 5 games that he played, and that was part of the thinking there. I wanted to get him some road work, and so we'll be fine there. But again, it's more about the quality of young players you have more so than just saying young players. And I think we got the type of players that can deal with playing on the road.
It has been one of the most unique off seasons we've seen in football. How important has it been for your guys to be adaptable in this unique time and in getting prepared for week 1? How important has that adaptability been in your preparation so far this off season, moving towards training camp?
Well, it's been important. And I think all the players, before our off-season started, the pandemic started a month or so before that. So they all got used to being adaptable in their own personal lives. So I think everybody's had a good attitude. They know that this is rare times for us, uncharted waters, and everybody's got the right attitude to adjust. I don't see that being a problem with our team moving forward. And we had a similar situation like this in 2011 where there was no off-season, no virtual meetings, no nothing. We had zero contact with the players. So in that regard, it's been done before, but not under pandemic's circumstances.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. I know even though it is a virtual off-season, it's a very busy off-season, so we appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll see you in person soon.
Look forward to that. Thank you.